Hey, Jim Wolf here with dating advice for men who love women. So you have a first date coming up and you want to make sure it goes really well, or that at least you don't screw it up too much. So in this presentation, I'm going to give you 7 tips that are going to make your first dates much better. Did you know that according to Match.com, a woman goes on an average of 24 first dates before she wants to go out with one of those guys again? I'm going to say that one more time. A woman goes on an average of 24 first dates before she wants to go out with one of those guys again. And most likely, almost all of those guys were interested in dating her again. Okay, so you want to avoid these 7 common first date mistakes to make sure the guy she wants to see again is you from now on. So now let's jump right into the 7 first date mistakes you must avoid. Number 1, making the date too long. A lot of guys make the first date way too long. Think about it this way. Think about going into a Costco store and instead of seeing people giving out samples, they were serving a full 7-course meal at one of those sample stands at Costco. That's how a lot of guys approach a first date. They include a really long meal, they have an activity afterwards, and it's just too much for the first date. Think of your first date like a Costco sample. Just give her a little taste of you. Get to know her a little bit. Have a little bit of fun with her, and then end the date after 45 minutes to an hour. You want your first date to be short for the most part. So you want to have a really good time and give her a taste of yourself, but keep it short. So again, for your first date, try to limit it to 45 minutes to an hour. Now, I don't want you to sit there and time it and say, oh, it's been 59 minutes, I gotta go. Just remember in the back of your mind that you want it to be short. So go do something simple and fun like grabbing coffee instead of taking her to dinner, or go have ice cream, or go have a smoothie. Something like that that's a little bit more low-key that allows you to have a conversation with her, and that's a low investment for both of you in terms of time and money, etc. Okay, so think of your first date like a sample and keep it short for the most part. Now, if you've known a woman for a while before you go on your first date with her, like you worked with her or you've been friends with her for a long time and now she's single and you're finally going on a first date with her and you've known her forever, then you can make your first date a little bit longer. But if you met her online or you just met her at the bar or you met her last week somewhere and you got her number and now you're going out for your first date, keep it short and think of it like a Costco sample. So keep your first date short and fun and you're going to have a much better chance that she'll want to go out with you again. Number 2, taking her to dinner and a movie. This is the most cliche date idea in the world, and it's bad for a first date for a couple of reasons. First of all, it's unoriginal and it shows a complete lack of creativity on your part because everyone knows it's kind of the default date that everyone kind of goes on. And so if you take her for that, it basically shows that you're not putting any creativity into your date at all. And that's fine. It can work if she really likes you. It can still work. However, it's not really a good idea. And the second reason is, going back to the first mistake, it takes way too long to go have dinner and then go to a movie. So your date is already going to be way too long for a first date. And that's the second reason why you shouldn't do this. And then the third reason you shouldn't take her to dinner and a movie for your first date is because you're not able to talk to her during the movie. You're just sitting in the dark next to a stranger. I can't think of a worse date idea than that, especially for your first date when you're trying to get to know each other a little bit. You want to do an activity where you can have fun and talk with her. Your job on the first date is mostly to get her talking and get her laughing. And you can't do that in a dark movie theater sitting next to her, at least without annoying everyone else in the whole theater. Okay, so I encourage you to avoid taking her out for dinner and a movie for your first date and actually also for your first 3 dates. After that, go ahead and do it if you want, but definitely don't do it for your first date. And then number 3, talking too much. Most guys talk way too much on a first date. And why is that? Because they want to convince her why she should like him. That's the main reason. Or because they're nervous, which is basically the same thing. What you want to do is to get her talking about herself in a way that feels good to her. So you want to ask her open-ended questions like, hey, if you had $1 billion in the bank and you never had to work again, what would you do then and why? Or if you could be any animal, what would you be and why? Ask her kind of fun, open-ended questions that allow her to talk for a long time and show you her personality. Because ironically, we actually don't feel more attracted to and more comfortable with people who share a lot with us. We feel closer to people who we share ourselves with. So if you want her to feel more comfortable with you and closer to you and more attracted to you, she needs to be sharing herself with you, not listening to you talk about yourself the whole time. I know that sounds counterintuitive because you want her to get to know you, but she will feel like she knows you better if she shares more about herself. So your job is to set that up and let her talk. She should be talking about 60 to 80% of the time on your first date. Now, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't share a little bit back as well. Just for the most part, get her talking and then let her talk. That's one of your main jobs on your first date. And if you do that, you'll be much more likely to get a second date with her. And then number 4, bragging. A lot of guys brag when they first meet a woman or when they go on a first date with her. Why? Well, again, just like talking a lot, you're trying to convince her to like you. And anytime you're seeking that approval from her, that's unattractive. So let's say that you do have a really awesome job, or you do have a huge house, or you have a yacht, or you're really good at playing guitar. What you want to do is let her figure out all that cool stuff about you on her own over time, instead of just telling her, hey, I have an awesome yacht, to try to get her to like you. Because here's the thing. Let's say that you don't tell her that you have an awesome house. And then you're on your third date with her and you say, hey, let's go back to my place. And she says, okay, cool. And then she goes and she sees your huge mansion and you didn't mention it on the last 3 dates to her, which means you didn't brag, which means now she's going to think not only do you have an awesome house and hey, maybe she can be a part of that really cool reality that you've created for yourself. She's also going to say, wow, he has this huge house and didn't even mention it on our dates. This guy is confident. Because not talking about yourself and not bragging shows more confidence than telling her about all those cool things about you. Because here's the thing, if you have a cool house, that's an external thing to you still. It's not actually part of who you are. Now, you probably have good qualities that allowed you to get that house. However, that house is external to you. And if you're trying to use external things to puff yourself up and make yourself seem more attractive, that's actually unattractive because you're trying to get her approval. So you want to let her discover all the awesome things about you over time. So cut out bragging and you're going to have a much better chance with her. And then number 5, giving her too many compliments. A lot of guys give women way too many compliments when they first meet her or on the first date. And again, it's another way to try to seek her approval. And also, you might have some positive intentions. You might want to make her feel good. And that's cool, except for the fact that when you just meet a woman or you're on a first date, you don't actually know her very well. So when you give a woman a lot of compliments right away, it's going to feel disingenuous to her because she's like, this guy doesn't even know me yet. How does he know all this stuff about me? So your compliment is not really going to have a positive effect. It's going to make her feel a little uncomfortable probably because she knows that you don't know her very well yet. You're basically just projecting things onto her because you're attracted to her. And she wants to know that you like her for who she is, not just because she's good looking. So when you give her too many compliments on the first date, you're basically just saying, I'm really attracted to you and I'm projecting all of these qualities onto you, even though it might not actually be true that that's who she is. Okay, so back off on the compliments and limit yourself to one genuine, light compliment on the first date, and you will have a much better chance that she wants to go out with you again. And then a related one, number 6, complimenting her body or her looks. Do not compliment her body or her looks unless it's a very general thing like, hey, you look really nice tonight. Or it's something that she never hears from other guys Like, hey, for some reason, I really think your ears are cute. Or, hey, for some reason, I really like your nose. And why shouldn't you compliment her body or her looks? Well, a couple of reasons. First of all, you already told her that you think she's good looking by asking her out on a date. Okay, she gets it. You at least think she's good looking enough to go on a date with. Okay, she's got that. You don't have to tell her again verbally. You have already demonstrated that by asking her out for a date. You don't have to say it more. And the second reason is she might feel uncomfortable with that, especially if it's kind of sexual in nature. And the best case scenario for you is that she's one of the 1 out of 10 women that will enjoy this kind of compliment, and then it works for you for a second and she feels good for 2 seconds, and then that's it. And the worst case scenario is she feels extremely uncomfortable with you and doesn't want to see you anymore. So there's absolutely no reason to take that risk because the upside is very small and the downside is extremely low. So don't compliment her body or her looks on the first date. And again, you're going to have a much better chance that she'll see you again. And then the last one, number 7, getting too serious too soon. This relates to the first mistake of making the date too long. A lot of guys get way too serious with a woman way too soon. And the first date is definitely way too soon to be serious. Because remember, women tend to fall in love slower than men. I'm going to say that again. Women tend to fall in love slower than men. So basically what you might call game is just allowing her interest in you to catch up with your interest in her. So you want to allow her interest in you to catch up with your interest in her. That's basically all we're doing in the beginning stages of dating. So even if she likes you a lot right away, the way you feel about her after that first awesome conversation with her or your first date is how she might feel about you emotionally after 2 or 3 dates. And even if she likes you a lot right away, she has to feel that way about you over a period of time for it to last. So keep your first date light, fun, and positive. Don't talk about serious, heavy, or negative subjects on your first date. Don't dump all of your insecurities and your problems on her. Don't try to have a super deep negative conversation with her. Don't bring her flowers or a gift. And don't talk about your future together with her, ask her to marry you, or ask her to be your girlfriend on the first date. That might sound silly, but I do know that some guys have asked a girl to be their girlfriend on the first date. And that's definitely way too serious, way too soon. So what you want to do instead is let your relationship develop naturally. Let her feelings for you catch up with your feelings for her. Back when I was in high school, I had a cactus, and it's really hard to kill a cactus, but I did. I managed to kill a cactus. How did I do that? I watered it way too much. Okay, so you do not want to overwater this cactus. Showing your interest over and over and over and over again repeatedly will kill the cactus. Okay, so you just need to give it a little bit of water, a little bit at a time. So space everything out a little bit more. Take it a little bit slower. Have a little bit more fun. Don't get too serious too soon. So instead of trying to have a deep, serious conversation with her, take her to do something active with you. Grab that coffee and go for a walk. Or take her on a hike. Or go play a board game at a bar. Try to do something fun, because building a solid connection and building rapport with a woman is much more about having a fun, unique shared experience than it is about bonding over a deep subject or having a serious conversation. I'm going to say that one more time. Building a deep connection and creating a strong bond with a woman is much more about having fun, unique, shared experiences with her than it is about bonding over deep subjects and having serious conversations. That's what the data and also my personal experience coaching men has shown. So focus on having as much fun as possible with her on your first date, because if she has a great time with you, she shares positive things about herself with you, and you keep the first date simple, short, and fun, she'll show up excited for your second date and beyond. And now you know 7 common mistakes you must avoid on the first date to make sure she shows up for your second date. And as a thank you for checking out this presentation, we have some free gifts for you. We have some advanced free training for you, and you can get it by going to datingadviceformenwholovewomen.com. That's datingadviceformenwholovewomen.com, or you can just click on one of the links in the description box below this video. So go grab your free gifts now. And if you're really ambitious, go grab your copy of the best-selling Attract and Keep Her system right now. Inside the Attract and Keep Her system, you'll discover how to attract a devoted girlfriend or wife and how to keep her in love so you don't have to worry about getting dumped or divorced ever again. And you'll also learn how to build an awesome, fulfilling relationship with her that keeps both of you happy. So I encourage you to end your pain and confusion about women forever. Go grab your copy of Attract and Keep Her right now. Just go to attractandkeepher.com/system. That's attractandkeepher.com/system. I'm Jim Wolf with Dating Advice for Men Who Love Women, and I'll talk to you later. Cheers.